Good evening and happy pre-Valentine. Yes, I know I should be talking about love, so hopefully maybe I'll be able to come in tomorrow to talk about love in terms of this book I'm reading by Black authors, a collection of romance novels written by Black authors. So I shall probably come on here tomorrow to discuss that. But for today, I'm going to talk about this movie I just finished watching, and I'm like, I need to come on here and talk about this movie. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, this movie is currently on HBO Max. I can't remember how long it's going to be there. It's a very brand new movie. So if you have friends that have HBO, please hook up with them this weekend and watch it. It's a great movie, particularly since this is Black History Month. So, it's an opportunity for you to learn a little bit more about African Americans, Black Americans, So, this movie is titled Judas and the Black Messiah. And when we talk about Judas and we talk about the Black Messiah, Judas, we know who Judas is in terms of Christianity. He's the person who betrayed Jesus Christ and sold him for some silver. And he was someone that was following Jesus for a long time. He had a relationship with Jesus Christ. And if Jesus Christ was a regular person, he would have been one of the people that actually Jesus Christ trusted. So that was the premise of this movie. In this movie, the Black Messiah is Fred Hampton. So this is his story, and it's acted by the person who plays that role is Daniel Kaluuya. The Judas is Bill O'Neill, and the role is played by Lakeith Stanfield. So Fred Hampton was in his early 20s, and he was the leader of the Black Panther movement. And there was that radicalism of the Black Panther movement that was going on at that time, but his ideas went way beyond what we know about the Black Panther. He wanted to change things within the Black community. So he was coming up with ideas of how to ensure that poor students get their lunch, have good school system, have great clinics, the homeless have a home, things that will make the Black community strong, be able to stand on its feet. And while the person who was going to act as an infiltrator was a criminal who was hired by the FBI to go in and infiltrate and report on what's happening within the Black Panther movement. And the only reason he agreed to do it, even though at first he didn't really care, was because they had something on him. And so if he didn't do it, he was going to spend years in jail. But I would say, actually, as I watched this movie, I was like, maybe you should have actually just gone and spent that 2 years or 3 years in jail. After all, your friends were doing it and they were coming out okay, rather than, betray your friends. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. So Bill O'Neill infiltrates the Black Panthers. He gets really close to the leader. In fact, they see him as part of the core team, and he was given a very important position within the Black Panther movement. And there he gets to see how Fred Hampton operates, and actually gets to admire him, because everything he does is out of love, it's out of passion, it's out of wanting to see his community become great. Unfortunately, at that time, there was something going on between the police system and the FBI and the Black Panthers. The Black Panthers were viewed as a terroristic group, but the whole thing that was underneath that was that the people who were leading the FBI and the police at that time were scared of Black people coming together and putting someone up as a messiah, which is Fred Hampton, and doing something of themselves. So there was this fear, that whole survival of the fittest, and the idea at that time was that the Caucasians had to be the fittest. So because of that, they were going to do everything, and they were doing everything to oppress the Black Panthers, to oppress any group that of a different color that showed any indications of wanting to do better for themselves. So they do a lot of criminal things, basically, the police I'm talking about and the FBI. They do a lot of criminal things to oppress the Black Panthers and to oppress other groups that like them. And it was just basically like a war, Sometimes blood was shed, guns were shot, but it was more of an ideological war that was going on. One of the things I really enjoyed about this was that it was bringing in a different concept of, Black movement in terms of politics. We've heard, when we think about Black leaders, particularly of that time, they all came with their different rhetorics, but his was a little bit different. It had a little bit of that whole, I wanted to say MLK, but Martin Luther King became radical a bit somewhere, but he had this whole idea of we can all unify together. Our common enemy at that time was this group of people that have decided that we are terrorists. So regardless of your color of your skin, regardless of your socioeconomic status, regardless of where you're placed in society, so long as you feel that you're being oppressed, your rights are being taken by this group of people, you are family, and you should join with us to fight back. And that was his whole ideology. And he was willing to go into different groups of society. He will enter the Dominican group. He will enter the white group. He will enter all kinds of groups, the white group with the Confederate flag. And you will go into their place and you will have this talk and you will have this discussion of how we can pull together our resources to fight, because this is America and we should be treated as human beings, and we're not being treated as human beings by these people in authority. So basically his ideas were like, oh my God, the police were not having it. So they did their whole rigmarole and all that stuff. And, you know, at the end of the day, it was really a sad, I'm not going to give it up because I think you guys should go watch it. So after watching this thing, I was left with so many questions. First, a great admiration for this Fred Hampton guy. He was in his 20s, 21, and he had done so much for his people. Like, he was all out, he was all passionate, he was all like, I want to see my people progress. And he was not going to be sold or sell himself short for that. And it was just, I was in awe of that kind of passion. And then there was this sadness about the role played by Bill O'Neill. And it made me wonder, why is it that when people want to do great for their community, there's always someone within that community that has that arrow that wants to pierce their back and hurt them so much? You know, what is it about people? Like, why are we like this? You know, and you have to watch it to see what I'm talking about, because I was like so sad at what happens and who actually did it. There's so much to talk about in terms of this movie, you know, and it was a sad movie. It was literally a very sad movie. But I want you all to see it. I want to know what your thoughts are. Do you think that we have leaders like that today? Could you be a leader like that? And what is stopping you from being a leader like that? Okay, like Fred Hampton. So I'm not talking about the guns and all that. I'm talking about his rhetorics in terms of improving lives, in terms of wherever I go, I'm going to be the light, you know. Anyway, I leave you with those thoughts. HBO Max, you know, if you don't have it, hook up with someone so you can watch it. You know, I think it's a great Valentine movie, if you want my honest opinion, you know. Sometimes we want to stay away from the sucky, lovey, kissy face things. Till next time, take care, God bless, and ciao. Bye.